I'm really hoping to break into live studio audience
Oh.
work. So I mean, I'll be the guy that they're always like panning across. You always see me
You really have that
clapping.
form of two hands.
I mean, that's a whole 1 week
Wow.
intensive.
Wow.
So I'm
Stuff
pretty
I
good.
never knew.
Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce, coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show.
It's because you're not as good of a clapper as I am.
Yeah, I didn't focus my time on clapping.
I got my
Clearly.
minor in it.
Oh.
It's film, screenwriting minor, and clapping.
And clapping. Wow. Well, since you're so good at clapping, do you have any good things you've watched recently that you would clap about?
That was a terrible segue, but I will answer your question
That was the best
anyway.
segue.
Mostly Orphan Black. Hand clap to everyone involved in that show, and Tatiana Maslany.
Is this your first time watching it, or are you rewatching?
First and a half, kind of, because I watched part of it a while ago.
No, that's fair.
And then I stopped watching it, and then it ended, and then I was lazy, but it's been on Amazon for a while, so I started watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, first and a half.
Nice.
Just keeps getting better.
How many seasons? Does it have
5 seasons.
5 seasons? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
But they're only 10 episode seasons, so
yeah.
it's pretty quick.
I don't know if I ever finished.
Wow. All this time.
I know.
Well, what have you been watching since you haven't been watching Orphan Black?
I've been watching American Horror Stories, which is the new anthology series they came out with a couple weeks ago. It's basically like single episode stories, kind of based in the similar world. Of course, created by Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. It has different actors, but I'm not sure if they're doing the same thing where the actors are in. I don't think they're across stories. The first episode actually was a 2-parter, and it had to do with Murder House, which was kind of cool because you got to see more about that story. I don't think the next ones are. There might be one later on that's like Coven related, but
Gotcha.
it's not like the best thing. It's basically just more horror story content without Evan Peters, but
Well, I'm glad you watched it because I wanted to know what it was about, but didn't want to actually watch it.
Yeah, I will say in the first episode they kind of like reused some stories, which was kind of like, wow, really? Okay, whatever. But again, we only have one. Well, when this episode comes out, we'll probably have like 2 or 3 more. But as of recording, we only have the first installment, and then tomorrow we get the next one. So TBD how the rest of them go.
Sweet.
Wasn't the worst pilot I have seen. I will give.
What's the worst pilot you've seen?
I'm blanking on every pilot I've ever seen. But I can tell you it wasn't the worst one.
Have you ever seen a bad pilot, kept watching the show, and it got better?
Parks and Rec.
I was just thinking that. Parks and
I wouldn't
Rec.
say their pilot is.
It's not
okay.
bad.
It's just the
compared
seasons,
to the rest is not as good.
The first couple seasons, but yes, that and I was gonna say Psych mostly because the pilot isn't the best episode, but it's not. It's a pretty good pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not that. The Office.
That's fair. Those are common ones.
But you know what else I've been watching?
What?
This episode's just gonna be full of amazing segues. Are you ready?
Ready.
I finished watching, finally, WandaVision.
Well, now we can talk about that instead of Loki like we were going to. So.
Oh, shit, because I haven't watched Loki, so...
Just kidding. We were going to talk about WandaVision the whole time.
Kendall did their homework. No, I think I finished like a week or so ago. Before we got into tech, I finished. So, yes, I finished WandaVision.
I also finished watching it a week ago again.
Yeah, you were rewatching it. I was watching it for the first time. Although before I watched it, I had seen like a recap kind of thing on YouTube. So I don't care about spoilers. Whatever.
For me,
I'm
I
on the internet.
don't want spoilers, but also if I know I'm not going to see it, or I know that I'm not going to watch it soon enough to
Yeah.
like avoid it, then
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
that's me with all the Disney series. Is I just knew I wasn't gonna have time to watch them right when they came out.
Like if I know I'm going to see it relatively soon, I'll avoid them. Like if I'm going to see it within a week or so, I'll avoid it. But if I know it's going to be a couple weeks or longer, then I'm not going to actively avoid it. And if I really want to know, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
But having seen all the Disney shows, this one still holds up as my favorite.
Okay.
I think it's the best made one. I think it's the best acted.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's the best story.
It's also the only one that is a limited series so far. Correct?
Yeah, it hasn't been announced if they're going to do any more Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, I was going to say they don't need to do more WandaVision, but I haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier yet, but I would be down for more seasons, but at the same time, isn't that just more Captain America movies? So it's kind of like...
Right, well, they're doing the movie, so I mean, like, if they do another season of that, it would probably be after Captain America 4.
Yeah. Which
is fine.
Would it kind of be like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing where they kind of connect to the MCU movies, which is fun.
But they would do it more so. This one, we'll talk more about it later, but it really doesn't need a second season.
No,
Also doesn't make sense to have a second season.
You couldn't do another one. It would just be dumb.
And it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
So.
I like a good limited series. You
just
know?
Like this
and
one.
It's a limited series, so just leave it at that. You know? Like...
I mean, obviously, there's going to be more Wanda and
more
probably
Vision
some more Vision, but we'll get into
the
that.
movies. So, yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, I thought that there wasn't going to be a second season for Loki, and there's going to be, so I guess we'll see. They confirmed a second season of Loki. Captain America 4 is happening. A second season of Winter Soldier's TBD.
Is likely, but
I'm gonna say potential, but I wouldn't hold my breath because they're doing that movie.
On unrelated news, have you seen the photos from the TV show Sebastian Stan is filming right now?
Yes,
they are the most amazing photos.
They're
in
wonderful.
The world. It's Mandy. Is that what it's? No. What's it called?
Are you talking about the one where he plays Tommy Lee with Lily James?
Yes. Starts with an
I don't
M.
remember what it's called, but
Starts with an M. It's not amazing. Mandy. That's the
Nicolas
Cage movie.
Speaking of, I really want to see that movie Pig because it sounds
Jack
hilarious.
said to watch it because it's amazing. He was comparing it to a movie, and I don't remember which one.
Please tell me it was John Wick because based on like
Pam and Tommy, I'm so off. Anyways,
there's an M in there. You're fine.
But yeah, the photos are amazing. I also saw like a leaked video like behind the scenes of him just being a dork rocking out at the drum kit. It's very entertaining.
But we're not here to talk about that loser.
I will say the piercings and tattoos fit him very well. My friend showed me a picture and I was like, those aren't real, right? Because that would be a fucking mess to cover up for Winter Soldier. And they're like, no, this is from Pam and Tommy.
Listen, he wears a jacket and a metal arm.
That's true, but
I feel like he's pretty good. I mean, honestly, but look at Chris Evans. He has a bunch of tattoos, and he was fine.
That's true. There's makeup, like cover-up makeup specifically for films that's better than just the stuff like that you can buy in a general like drugstore. That just like stays on and doesn't wear off easily over a day. You know. That's
right. That's why I'll probably never be a real actor because I've
and then like they have for this movie, they have temporary tattoos that they keep on for like a couple weeks to a month. You know, so you don't have to do the same tattoo every day because that would
that's smart.
Not work. But yeah, so he just has a bunch of tattoos for a couple months. It's great. Live in the moment. Okay. Moving on, back to WandaVision.
But we're here to talk about WandaVision in 3 words: wonderful, amazing, spectacular.
I agree. I think my only thing is that like Wanda is not my favorite character of the Avengers, but
that's
like
fair.
You know, I didn't hate the show. I still liked it. It has comedy, it has drama, it has mystery.
I didn't like Wanda until this either, but only because she's not very fleshed out until now.
They fleshed her out really well, which I agree is I think something that I didn't like as much. You really get a good fleshing out of Wanda. I will say, though, because for years they've talked about doing a Scarlet Witch movie, and this is just their replacement for that.
Just like they were going to do a Black Widow movie for years. Wah, wah.
Yeah. But I don't think we need a Scarlet Witch movie now that we have WandaVision, unless it was like a continued, Captain America movies have come out in between Avengers movies, if it was something like that. But
well, and they're doing
we don't need an
Multiverse of
origin.
Madness.
Yeah.
And they gave us her origin in this, so we don't need it for sure now.
Yeah, I don't think we need one now. Not an origin movie, at least.
And, just all around the brilliant homage to television and everything. And
yeah, and the comics.
Yep.
Great homage. Okay, I know I said this in our last episode. I would make my film students watch this just to study eras of television.
Yes, me as well.
We'd study different eras of television, and then we would watch single episodes and be like, okay, what are the
tropes? What are you seeing in here?
Yeah, for the 60s, and then, make an analysis of this episode. Okay, and then now we're moving on. What are the tropes from, and be like, what did they do well to capture the 70s? What did they do bad? I think it would be a fun activity. Film teachers of mine, past professors, take notes. I have lesson plans for you. Okay,
Maria,
bye.
This is for you. You teach writing for TV, so here you go. This is free lesson plans. You don't even have to do any work. We'll do it all for you. You're welcome.
Yeah. I think it's a great little, if you're a movie buff or a television buff, especially like my parents, who grew up in the 60s and 70s, loved watching it because they're like, yep, I had that hairstyle. Oh, I had those shoes. Wow. That sweater is still at my parents' house, stuff like that.
Especially if you're a TV fan, much like myself, then it's a great show.
My mom, every episode was guessing what shows the title sequence was based on, which is kind of fun to do because each
Lucy,
episode is a different
Bewitched. One of them's Full House. I think one of them is Family Matters, Modern Family.
Which the Full House one is just ironic because Elizabeth Olsen, which my parents didn't realize she was related to the Olsen twins until I told them that. And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, I mean, she looks the same, but okay.
They do look very similar.
But yeah, well, and some of, isn't one of them like The Office kind of? One of the later ones?
The last one they do is sort of like Modern Family.
Oh,
Office.
Modern Family.
It kind of mixes some of those.
So it was kind of fun to do that for each episode as well.
Yes. And then, of course, the incomparable Catherine Hahn, who is just, she's wonderful. She's good in everything.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The kind of cameos in the show is great.
What cameos?
Just of various actors.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like, not Catherine Hahn, but
Kat Dennings?
Deborah Jo Rupp, who is in That 70s Show.
Yes.
She has not aged a day. Beautiful lady. My goodness. Oh, David Langle, who looks like, what's his name from Friends?
Which one is David Langle?
He plays like, I think.
Does he have the mustache?
Yeah, he looks like David Schwimmer.
Oh my god. Well, her
actual husband or her husband in the show?
Her husband in the show, the boss, Mr. Hart. Mm-hmm. He's in New Girl as Schmidt's boss. And Norm is Schmidt's assistant on New Girl as well.
Nice. Well, and then I was looking into these kids. Well, this will be later episodes. The kids that play the twins. And Julian Hilliard, I fell in love with in not Bly Manor, but the other one.
Haunting of Hill House?
Haunting of Hill House. I love him as little Luke in that, and then I realized it was the same kid. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Also, Norm's name is Asif Ali.
Ah.
Just so I can give him actual credit instead of calling him Jeremy from New Girl, and Fred Melamed is from New Girl as well, but he's also done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and then we talked about Kat Dennings and Randall Park returning as Jimmy Woo and Darcy Lewis, which is, I would say,
love
a cameo, but
them
not quite
immensely.
a cameo. But I loved having those characters come back, and it is kind of like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, where you have characters coming back as this whole extended MCU, like, grandiose world, which I think was great. Also, because we haven't seen Darcy in a while.
Forever. Since Dark World.
Yeah. So
and she's a doctor now.
And
Good
then
job.
having Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, I thought that was also a great little tidbit. She plays the daughter of Captain Marvel's friend, as well as
Maria Rambeau.
Spoilers, one of the new Captain Marvels.
Photon.
Because like many MCU characters, there are multiple people that play the same titled superhero.
Well, she doesn't play Captain Marvel.
No, she's
not a Captain Marvel. She plays, her character's name is Photon.
I think she goes back and forth. It's like the whole, who's the guy that Hawkeye is?
Ronan?
Yeah, Ronan. It's kind of like that.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm just pretty sure.
I think they're doing Photon, but I know she's going to be in the Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels.
Right. Well, she can't be Captain
Marvel
right now because we have Captain Marvel.
I mean, she maybe will someday, or she'll be I don't know.
But she does in the comics, at least. She plays Captain Marvel. She becomes Captain Marvel at one point. She is one of the Captain Marvels. It's like Spider-Man and Miles Morales,
Iron Man and Captain America, and pretty much every superhero that's ever been.
Yeah. They all take turns. They're sharing. They're nice and friendly.
Sometimes I don't want to be Captain America, so Sam, you're up, buddy.
Jack Schaefer is the head writer and creator for the show.
Yes.
He worked on The Hustle and Black Widow.
Jack Schaefer's a girl.
Woman. She did. My bad.
I thought the same thing until I watched the behind the scenes. I'm assuming it's short for Jacqueline. But she worked on The Hustle and some of Black Widow.
Ooh.
And the episodes were directed by Matt Shankman.
Yep.
Who did Ugly Betty.
Did Matt Shankman direct all of them, or did just some of them?
All of the Marvel shows have one director.
Oh, okay.
For the whole thing, which I think is cool because then it gives you sort of unity to the whole thing. That way you're not necessarily potentially mixing tones. Plus, they're trying to make them more like extended movies.
Jess Paul was the cinematographer across the whole show, and then we had various editors: Zine Baker, Nona Kodai, Tim Roche, Michael A. Weber. I will. What you're saying though, like instead of having a Wanda movie, or a Scarlet Witch movie, we get basically like 2 or 3 Scarlet Witch movies with this series. So.
And I mean, I feel like there's so many editors. Like the other ones, I think they only had like one main editor. They had so many just because of the different styles.
Yeah.
And the switching of everything.
Especially having someone focus on the 60s or the 2000s.
Right.
Or, again, switching between the neighborhood and outside. So you have listed each episode and little things about it.
Yes, because I wanted to go through them. Just because there's a lot to go through.
There's a lot to go through. But also, I
want to go through it.
We
don't have to go deep dive into it. I just wanted to. There's lots of stuff in all of them, and I wanted to.
Well, and since each one is kind of in a different format, it's hard to talk about them all as a whole.
Right. It's not like Falcon and Winter Soldier or Loki, where they sort of work together.
Yeah. So now's the time for spoilers if you didn't already realize that we were going to talk about it. Episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience. Ready, go.
Oh. So, I mean, there's an actual live audience for this one, and I'm pretty sure the second one also had one.
Yes.
After that, there was laugh tracks put in, but they weren't filmed live. The stop it scene, I realized, was not about Mrs. Hart talking to her husband, but about her talking to Wanda. Which I thought was... It's just like the first crack of reality that you're seeing.
It is. And I was actually, when I was watching it, I was surprised it came so early. It comes in the first episode. Which I didn't realize. I thought it was going to take longer. But at the same time, I'm not mad about it because it definitely keeps the series moving.
Not.
And the series is not slow whatsoever. I think we were saying by episode 3, Vision starts parting,
right.
So.
And, I mean, like, that's... I feel like it would have been cool to see, like, just in that solid reality, but also it doesn't... It's better that they started, like... They pretty much just, like, crack it a little bit and then just exponentially crack it more and more and more each episode.
And at least in the beginning, the first couple episodes, you're only really seeing it from Wanda's point of view.
Right.
So you're experiencing what she's experiencing, and then later we add in Vision and we add in Sword and Darcy and Wu. So then we get more perspectives. But at least at the beginning, you're kind of confined to just what Wanda is seeing and creating and airing.
Right. As we sort of learn later on. And, you know, with the title sequence, we get the first appearance of the Hex.
Uh-huh.
And the cool behind-the-scenes thing. So black to white, they would do this a lot. I know for Addams Family, their house looks dark and gloomy. Is actually like pink.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how true that is. It's a rumor that I heard. But this is definitely true. So red doesn't look as good on black and white as red. So they painted him blue. So he appears red on the actual film.
Yeah. This was something we talked about very, very briefly in a film class with Patrick, maybe like Film 250 even, where if you were to take black and white movies or TV shows, and if they had color footage or if you were on set, the set design is so ugly because it's just the worst combination of colors. But that's what looks good on black and white, and that's what, you know, especially next to each other. And so, and this was something, you know, Jack and I made a black and white short film a couple years back, and that was something that we tested and had to think about is like, well, what color is the costume going to be? How are we going to do blood? What color is this area going to be? Let's take a photo and look at it black and white, you know, to make sure it'll look okay, sort of thing. So it is really something you have to consider when you're doing stuff like that, which I think people don't always realize when they make, you know, black and white stuff, especially young film students, because they'll be like, oh, but what if we filmed it in black and white? Or what if we turned it black and white in the editing process? They think about that. Actually, we did this also for Blue Haze. We knew it was going to be in black and white, or we ended up doing like a black and white blue gradient kind of thing. But we knew it was going to be black and white, and so we're like, let's stick with extreme gradients. You know, your costume was blacks, and with like little bits of white. Whereas Pinhead Pete had white. Well, actually, his jacket was light pink pale, but you know, it's a much lighter color. So like thinking about those gradients and those contrasts, and then playing with different colors to make sure that they look okay.
Black and white cinematography is a whole thing that's very difficult, but if you pull it off, it looks very good.
Yeah, and it's fun to experiment and think about. I implore everyone listening to go try. And if you don't want to make videos, just take photos or something.
So that brought us into, I mean, we get the classic, you know, boss coming to dinner, mix up screwball goofing, everything with this one. And
very I Love Lucy.
Yes. And you see a lot of that in this one. But then we go, in our next episode, we go into the 60s.
Episode 2, Don't Touch That Dial.
Hey mama, welcome to the 60s. Whoa. This one is a lot like the first one in that it's a lot of, you know, sitcom tropes, like the who, the ha, the he. There's the magic show where, you know, Vision is quote unquote drunk. You know, he's big red drunk, and Wanda has to cover with her magic. It's very Bewitched. That
combination of like animation, like drawn animation with sitcom is very 60s. It makes me think of like old Disney movies.
Yes.
But also, before I forget, all of the like ad breaks in the episodes are so funny and so cliche. And then also when you're watching them, you get little like Hydra references and like Scarlet Witch and like Hex and like Shield sort of things, which is kind of fun to look for as well. If you didn't look the first time, go back and watch it.
This is also when we first hear Jimmy Woo over the radio trying to communicate with Wanda. This is also when we get sort of the first realization that Wanda's affecting this reality. Going in, you sort of assume that, but this is where you're sort of confirming that she has at least some control over it with the beekeeper. when they both go out and they see the beekeeper, and Vision's like, "What is that?" And she's
and
like,
you really
"No."
get this weird, like,
and then it just
what
shifts.
is happening kind of thing. Yeah.
And then
yeah. And
the sword copter
you're almost
that's in color.
Yep. Well, and I was gonna say you're almost like this is where you start to wonder if Wanda is more the antagonist than the protagonist,
Right.
sort of thing.
And so this one ends with a pretty sweet color shift as they go from 60s to 70s, and Wanda's become pregnant with baby.
Whoa. Yeah, so episode 3 now in color.
Oh, wait, hold on. One more thing.
I think this one had the worst hairstyles for Vision.
I have one more thing to say about the last one.
What?
You're not even listening.
We already moved on.
No. The two bed
We're not
joke.
allowed to go back.
The two bed joke. So married couples weren't allowed to share beds, so they had to have separate ones, but then she pushes them together.
And then she gets pregnant.
That's a warning, kids.
Whoa.
Don't share the same bed. You'll get pregnant. And then you will die.
Episode 3 had the worst hairstyle for Vision. I will say the whole pregnancy thing is like a little weird.
But it
at first
also gives us a lot of those hilarious pregnancy tropes, like that you notice in TV
all
shows.
All in 20 minutes.
Wear big coats, or they put stuff in front of them, like, look at this bowl of fruit I'm holding inconspicuously right
that was
where I'm
pretty
pregnant.
funny.
But you can't tell.
Well, and then also all of the like visual analogies for pregnancy were pretty funny. The water breaking and the
rain cloud
water house thing going wrong. There's something for blood, and I don't remember what it was. And then you have the weird. Oh, you have the stork as well, a stork that comes. And then every time Wanda gets a contraction, like the neighborhood fritzes out,
and she gets a new jacket.
Yeah.
This actually, so in the last one is when we first meet Teyonah Parris' character, but we don't know that she is Monica Rambeau. She plays Geraldine on the show, Wanda's show, WandaVision. And then she comes back in this one, and she's still Wanda's friend and trying to help her out. And throughout these episodes, we get Catherine Hahn as Agnes, being the nosy neighbor type. Classic 70s, 50s, 60s nosy neighbor trope. But in this, we're also seeing a lot more of those breaks in reality, especially from Vision, who's starting to question what's happening and what's going on. And
again, talking on how how well timed the series is. Like, again, I was expecting it to take a while for Vision to kind of figure things out, but it starts pretty early where he's like, something's not right. I need to investigate, which I'm glad he was kind of given this autonomy fairly early on.
Then it ends, with...
It also goes to show how not long this has been going on. As well. Because when the series first starts, you're like, oh, they've been in this for a while. They've established their kind of 60s groove. But it's like, no.
This is recent.
They haven't, actually.
Right.
It's pretty new.
And, you get the birth of the babies, Tommy and Billy. And this is when we get our biggest sort of break and jump in reality, when Vision comes back and Geraldine is gone because she's reminded Wanda about Pietro.
Yeah.
And she throws her out. But we'll see that later.
So then episode 4, we interrupt this program.
This is when we
officially break out of Wanda's show.
Yes.
And we go into Outside the Dome.
Well, this is when we see what happens outside the dome. We break in the end of the episode, actually, which is the way they do it is really cool, because Monica gets shot out, and then it changes format from the 5x4, whatever it is, to the 2.53, 1, and it stretches out, and it's a very cool effect.
Yes.
And then we get to the backstory, and we get to see, what happened post-Endgame with people who came back from the snap, and we learn more about Monica.
This is the episode where the series takes a shift, because no longer are we just stuck in Wanda's television show. We're actually going back and forth between the dome and the outside world from this point on. But we do still get those TV tropes and stuff in Wanda's world.
But we also get to see how it's perceived on the outside world. Through Jimmy, through Darcy through the director Tyler Haywood. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it kind of brings up the, you know, sword, good or bad. Yeah. They seem like the good guys, always.
Well, and it's the whole sword and shield, like, which one's good, which one's bad, or are they both neither or the same?
Right. Ooh. So we get our first taste of our perceived reality and what's really going on. Then we jump...
Oh, confirmation. Because of the way the show ends, doesn't WandaVision technically take place before Endgame?
No. It takes place after Endgame.
Or not Endgame.
Infinity War?
No, wait.
No.
Yeah, Endgame.
Takes place after Endgame.
Are you sure?
100%.
Because
she breaks...
It's only been 3 years for Monica, but it's been 5 years in Endgame.
0 years. No, Monica's been gone for 5 years. She blipped out. Monica blipped out.
Wait,
her mom has been dead for 3 years.
Her mom passes, yeah. Oh,
okay. So her mom lived 2 years, died, and then 3 years later.
But also, Wanda appears in Endgame.
Yeah, but she's not wearing her new costume, which would tell you that it's right after when she got dusted in Wakanda, fought there, went to Vision, and then fucked off to Westview.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, don't worry, I've given this a lot of thought.
Whatever, Gavin, whatever. Anyways, episode 5.
Also, this...
On a very special episode.
Actually, and then at the end of
episode 4 has a very big... No, wait.
Huh?
Is episode 5 the cliffhanger?
Episode 5 has the cliffhanger. Episode 4 gives us scary Vision with where he's dead and he's got the crashed head.
Oh, right. Okay.
This one ends with surprise, spoiler, Evan Peters, Peter Maximoff.
The best inside joke ever.
The original X-Men, from the last X-Men franchise. Multiverse confirmed?
It's the best inside joke ever. And since Disney now owns Sony, they have the rights
Fox,
to do that.
Not Sony.
Which is...
They don't own Sony.
Well,
they own Fox.
Yes, but they have the rights to the
X-Men, which were Fox, not Sony.
Fox.
Sony has Spider-Man.
Anyways.
You know,
yeah,
with
Sony
this,
and Disney and Spider-Man But anyways, they're allowed to do it because they have the rights to the X-Men now.
Right. Well, and so in this episode, we see Vision breaking more and more. He's getting more and more distant from Wanda because he knows something's wrong. She won't talk about it. She just wants to raise the kids, but they're growing up, you know, rapidly. They go from babies to 5 to 10.
In like 2 days, they're like 10-year-olds.
Then
it's great. I will say the toddler twins are adorable as heck, and I wish they were around for longer.
They also were perfectly cast with their older.
They were, yeah, but obviously it's easier to
work with 10-year-olds instead of 5-year-olds.
And pay and schedule 10-year-olds.
In this, we also see more of characters breaking, like Agnes. Mm-hmm. Should I take it from the top?
Yep. And them trying to appease Wanda as well.
Now we learn later that Agnes is just sort of playing extra more than anybody else is. But still, you know, we're seeing the Westview people being like, do you want me to take it from the top? Should I start over? Did I say the line wrong? What do you want?
Oh, no,
What's this?
Fucked up.
Did I fuck up? I'm sorry. These kinds of things.
Yeah, very much like tiptoeing around an angry director.
Right. Any angry crew person. Uh-huh. And then, like we said, this is, at the end of this episode, is when we see Evan Peters come back. Can a long-lost bro squeeze his stinking sister to death or what? And so, yeah. I missed little Evan Peters.
I did too, and I'm glad he was back at least momentarily. It was amazing. Those episodes are my favorite just because of Evan Peters.
Yes, and then we get a full episode of Evan Peters on...
Also because Evan Peters' Quicksilver basically drives the last X-Men movies.
That's true.
So...
He is a majority, but makes those last couple good.
Yeah.
But then we move on to the Halloween Spooktacular.
Which was... I love a good seasonal episode. And I love that they put a seasonal episode in the middle of like April, you know.
And then this gave us their classic costumes. We got one for
Yeah.
Quicksilver, WandaVision, Tommy, Billy. They're the first of the young Avengers to show up. They play, so Billy is Speed, Wiccan?
No, Tommy is Wiccan. No, wait, which one's Fast?
I think it's Tommy. Tommy is Speed, and Billy is
Wiccan. Yeah.
But it's a nice little wink to the fans and people who want to see the original costumes, but know equally that they are ridiculous.
Yes. Yes, Tommy is Speed, and Billy is Wiccan. Which is like, can you really not come up with better names but that are different from your mom and your uncle? No. But at the same time...
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
So then, we see Wanda interacting with Pietro, and the whole family and Halloween thing, and we see kids, which we hadn't previously seen before, but which was...
Uncle Pietro is amazing.
Yes. Amazing.
And it's like the perfect, like, chaotic energy to make the kids even more chaotic.
Yes. And then this is where we see the depths and the extent of Wanda's power. Oh, and we missed something else, actually, a couple episodes back, when she comes out of the Hex the first time, and pulls the Magneto and points all the guns at the sword agents, and pretty much tells them to leave and fuck off right back to where they came from and leave her alone. But then we see Vision go to the edge of the Hex, basically, and see the people there doing literally just like one motion things, and it's scary as shit.
Yeah, like the further away you get, the less activity you have.
Just because the less control Wanda has.
Yeah, well, and then also the less activity she needs to force upon them, because they're at the edge, so no one goes over there.
And then, Vision tries to leave and save everybody, but he is not able to.
But it starts to kill him.
Yes. And Wanda uses her magicness to extend the Hex even more than it already has been. And we just see how powerful she is, and the government turns into clowns. Haha. Get it?
I thought that was pretty great. I also love the whole, like, in order to incorporate things into the world, they have to change to be era kind of appropriate, which is fun to see the ways things change, like with the cops, how they turn into a circus. The beekeeper, who was a guy in a hazmat suit. The drone turns into a helicopter or an RC helicopter kind of thing. It's kind of fun to see. You're kind of like curious, like what it's gonna change to.
Right. But it also doesn't change its composition, which we learned through Monica that she was wearing Kevlar, but so it stayed Kevlar, or just looked different.
Yeah. Episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall. So now we're getting really into the climax of everything. Things are starting to go wrong.
I found Wanda to be the most relatable on this one because she decides to take a staycation as punishment for being bad and trapping part of the town. She's like, you know what, I'm just going to stay home and relax. Yeah, right. This is my punishment.
We learn about Agatha and how she's the true antagonist.
In a way. Is she really the antagonist,
musical moment there was kind of funny. It was an interesting backstory for her as well. And then Monica Rambeau gets her powers.
Yeah. No. Yes.
Ooh, at the end of it.
Yeah. But Agatha all along is a bop for sure.
That's a great bop. Reality starts to glitch.
Mm-hmm. We see the furniture going between all the different decades that she's been doing, and does a almost perfect Claire Dunphy.
I would say it's not that she's self-aware. I feel like she's always been self-aware. It's just that she's breaking the facade that she tried to bury.
And I feel like she also hasn't allowed herself to think about it. She just wants to be full on into this reality. Like, she knows, but she doesn't want to know that she knows.
She doesn't want, It's messy. It's what happens when you are sad and grieving.
And I also want to live in a house decorated like Agatha's basement.
That was pretty cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And then the penultimate episode, previously on, it gives us the full backstory and history of Wanda.
Which was nice, and again is a reason we don't need an origin for them, for Wanda and Quicksilver.
I also loved the intro with Agatha and the sort of fake out. Like, you learn at the end of the last one that she's a witch, so when you start this one, you assume it's probably a witch trial. And it even goes so far as to be like, are you a witch? And she's like, yes! And then it turns out everyone else is witches too.
Whoa! Yeah, it was interesting turn. And then, well, I also like the whole idea that for Agatha, Wanda being a mutant is like witchcraft. You know, like, there's a reason Wanda knows different witchcraft than the witches.
Right.
Because it's
more mutated.
Yeah.
And I think it's
which is interesting.
Also interesting because, I mean, you said Agatha's the antagonist. There's a very strong case that Wanda's the antagonist, but I feel like it's a difference between it's mostly intention. Wanda's not intending to make these people's lives miserable.
Right.
Agatha's more actively trying to be a dick. Also, she drives a red car. Get it?
She drives a red car. She gets her name Scarlet Witch.
We learn that Hayward is lying. Earlier on, he said that Wanda took the body, and us as viewers were like, well, that makes sense, that she would take the body, put it together, resurrect it.
She didn't.
But no, she actually created him, and we learn that Hayward is a liar. And not only is he a liar,
lying liar,
but he actually put Vision back together. And I don't know if you remember this, but at one point Paul Bettany teased a cameo with an actor he's always wanted to work with. And it turned out to be himself. Which, honestly, same. If I was ever playing myself, like, you know what, I have someone I'm going to act with. And honestly, it's an honor. Like, I've always wanted to work with such a serious talent. And, you know, just to get this far really means I've made it, you know?
When we were watching this, because I watched it with my parents, because my dad is a pretty big Marvel fan as well, and we just roped our mom into it. I was going off about the whole multiverse thing, specifically when Evan Peters comes in, and then the whole Magneto Descendants thing, which is canon to the comics and the X-Men movies. And my dad was like, well, then how does that work with Sokovia and their Sokovian parents? And it's like, well, it's a multiverse, but also at the same time, Magneto is not around after they're born, so it doesn't matter.
And if they do the X-Men with Magneto, they don't have to be related.
Well, and see, that's the thing is, one, it's a multiverse. And two, I think I wrote this later, the X-Men movies are not Earth 616.
No, definitely not.
Compared to MCU is 616.
Yeah, this is 616.
In Spider-Man.
So, it's...
Yeah, 616, 616. But yeah, so we can still have X-Men multiverse easily and make it work. Hire us to write it so that it actually is good. Thank you.
Unless they do Multiverse of Madness in a way that they sort of did with the DC Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they just took everything that was already on different Earths and then just smashed it together.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should do that, or I would like that. I'm just saying it's a possibility to get around it. That's all. It is. Yes. But I don't recommend it because I feel like it would rewrite a lot of what happened, and that would be stupid.
So now we get on to the final episode, the finale.
Aptly called the series finale.
There's a lot of great jokes in this about the Wicked Witch. There's a boner joke when we talk about Evan Peters.
A wonderfully executed boner joke. Character. I don't care what anybody says. Because
I don't know if this is intentional, but when Evan Peters is in his man cave, it looks very similar to Quicksilver's man cave in X-Men.
I imagine it's not entirely unintentional.
But he's like, this is my man cave, and I'm like, all you're missing is a pinball machine, bro.
We get a philosophical Vision fight, the Ship of Theseus.
Wanda gets her costume.
A wonderful costume. Witch. And one thing I was seeing was like, this is how you make a costume that's like sexy, but not like sensual and overly sexualized.
And still is
badass,
related to the comics without using the sexualized comics.
And she's not wearing heels.
Ayo.
However, she has like
smart and not a dumbass.
Or if they are, they're like boots, so they're like
teeny tiny. I think this had a great but very sad ending. Kind of that classic, like, not lie to the children, but, you know, like...
Everything will be all right, dear, but then it's not.
Yeah, but then it's not.
We also skipped over one of the best lines in the show from the last episode. What is love if not grief, or what is grief if not love persevering?
Yes,
Thanks, Vision.
Good quotes. Thank you, Vision. I think it was a really great, like, conclusion to the grief that Wanda experiences.
I watched it again, and I remember initially feeling like it was wrapped up kind of quick, and I still, that's probably my biggest complaint for the show, is I feel like the finale was a little quick.
Right, yeah.
But
it would have been better as a 2-part episode.
Or just a bit longer even.
Yeah.
But that being said, still a very good finale in the way it wraps up the show, and we sort of see what's coming in Multiverse of Madness. We see Wanda at the end in her cabin. We get a satisfying conclusion with her and Vision, and one that's, while sad, is not nearly as dramatically sad as her initial one. I'm hoping we'll see White Vision again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who appears next in the MCU.
Yes. Honestly, after Loki and they sort of blew up the multiverse, I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I am excited.
Who knows? Gotta wait for Doctor Strange.
But I am excited. Honestly, I'm excited. Next one is Shang-Chi, right?
Yeah, that comes out in the summer.
I'm excited for
that. We just got Black Widow, and then Shang-Chi.
Yes.
And then Spider-Man, I believe.
Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man.
Oh, right, Eternals, yeah.
Though I think somewhere in there we're also going to be getting Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel. Oh!
Not until after Spider-Man.
I just saw something today saying that Ms. Marvel and Hawkeye are coming out this year.
Really? I was under the impression they hadn't. Oh, Ms. Marvel, maybe. I didn't think they'd started filming.
Hawkeye, I know, started filming. But also next month we get What If. And I saw that is going to tie into the MCU somewhat. Ooh. So that's probably actually the next... Well, let's see. When does Shang-Chi come out? It's August... Nope, September 3rd. So the next project is actually What If.
I liked this little thing you came up with, that the series goes through the stages of grief.
So I will say I did not come up with this. I stole this from various sources.
Gavin's not smart, but the writers are.
Yes, the writers and other people on the internet noticed it and are smarter than I am. But she goes through all the 5 stages. So we see denial in the first 3 episodes. Anger in episode 5. Bargaining in episode 6. She goes through depression in like 7 and 8. A lot in 7. You see it a bit in 8.
Mm-hmm. I would say with 8, it's more like with her past and kind of accepting that and reliving that.
And then
same with
8, 9.
Acceptance.
9 is really the acceptance one.
Yeah. 8 is like the in-between depression and acceptance, like going through her past and kind of like reliving it and coming to terms with it helps her accept.
Right.
That's
true.
The rest of it. But wow, smart.
I mean, like I said, my biggest complaint is I felt the finale might have been a little rushed, but otherwise very, very good. My favorite show, I have no real complaints about it. I feel like it changed the Marvel game and how they're going to make stuff and tell stories, and honestly just how TV is going to be told. You were not as impressed by the previously on Easter egg.
No, I mean, it was fine. It was just like, I feel like it kind of got redundant after a while.
I think if you're binging it, it does. But watching it back is kind of nice, but I like it, one, because
I think also they're a little long for how short the episodes are. The previously ons don't need to be quite as long as they are.
Maybe. I just like it because of so, for anybody who didn't notice, her tone gets less and less chipper as she does them, and it becomes more flat. Which is the one thing I liked, but then also it's another one of those like TV trope things.
Yeah.
I mean, Falcon does it and Loki does it too, but they don't say anything. They just show previously on Loki. and go into.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the question, is Wanda a villain? Which has been the question since Wanda was introduced to us, since Wanda and Quicksilver were introduced. But it's also kind of the reoccurring question with those characters in every version they've been in, because they're often start as villains and then possibly turn. But then it's the same with Magneto, who canonically is their father, that he starts as evil, goes to good, and then goes back to evil, and then is in between.
Well, yeah. I think the thing for Wanda in terms of the MCU is that, I mean, at first she's like, oh, the bad guy, and then they sort of redeem her, and a lot of her story has been about...
It's been trying to figure out for herself.
Figuring out for herself. Well, she knows that she's good, I feel like.
Yeah.
But redeeming herself in the eyes of the public is what it seems to me is a lot of her surrounds her story and her personal guilt with it. And
yeah, I was going to say, her personal guilt is what
so I think
she's trying to redeem.
The part, like what I said earlier, is like she's not as knowing, intentionally trying to be a bad person to these people. She thought she was helping them. But, you know, she doesn't know how strong she is, which I feel like is part of the reason she's reading the Darkhold in the end of the show.
Yeah. So that's the full show, but I guess this was announced early July, that it was nominated, the show WandaVision was nominated for 23 Emmys, which the Emmys are usually at the end of the summer, early fall, correct?
Yeah.
So that'll, you know, we'll find out the conclusion of that. But, you know, they got leading performers, supporting performers, limited series, writing and directing, special effects, costumes, makeup.
It got nominated for everything that it could be nominated for. Anything and everything it could have been nominated for, it got nominated for.
Yeah.
I was going to write them all down, but it was getting very redundant. I was like, we're just the best. We think you're the best at everything.
Yeah, I mean, final thoughts.
No season 2.
It's a limited series. There is no season 2. Get over it.
Also, get over Wanda's accent.
Wanda is not gone. Vision is not gone. Yeah, and...
I was getting really mad about that, because people would keep complaining, like, she's undercover, and she's in the 50s. She's not going to sound like Wanda in the 50s.
Exactly. It's also, her accent, like her Sokovian accent, is based off of a Russian or Germanic, is Russian Germanic? I don't know. But, like, accent, but at the same time, there's Sokovian, which does not exist. Sorry, I hate to break it to you.
What? No!
But
the movies are broken!
So who's to say what their accent should actually sound like? But whatever, just stop bitching about it.
It's done. Get over it. Also, get over the fact that there was no Mephisto. Or you'll find Mephisto in your face.
But these are all things that we can have in the MCU later on.
Yes.
If they don't, you know, they're not getting another Wanda series, but maybe we get a Vision series. Ooh.
Whoa.
Would be fun. I don't know. I don't work for Disney. I'm not confirming that. I'm just saying it would be a fun idea.
Maybe he'll be in Armor Wars with Don Cheadle.
Ooh. Multiverse of Madness is coming up, and that's going to give us a lot of answers I'm excited for.
Yes.
And now that Disney owns the rights to X-Men, I think we can confirm
they're coming.
That they should join.
Though it seems like Fantastic Four is coming before X-Men.
Why are they making more Fantastic Four?
They don't...
That's already a mess. It's already a mess, as we've mentioned so many times.
Honestly, I feel
that's the beginning of the multiverse.
They're not even going to do an actual X-Men movie for a while. I
just want the characters to come in.
Here's what I'm guessing.
They were supposed to have... Look, they were supposed to have legit new... the New Mutants and new X-Men in Deadpool, and then they didn't get the money and rights for it. So I just want them to
Deadpool
join...
is confirmed in the MCU.
Well, I know, but they were supposed to have the X-Men as well, more than just the cameos, which was still funny. I still love that cameo for Deadpool too. But I just want them to bring the characters in. I don't care if it's the same cast. I just want the characters to come in.
I'm not saying it should be
because
the same
also
cast.
So many of the X-Men and like the New Mutants and the New Avengers like switch between all of the teams. Like if one of them hasn't been on every other team, they're not a mutant.
I'm calling it right now, July 21st, 2021. The next
at
few movies
2:46 p.m.
through Phase 4 are going to, not all of them probably, but they're going to start reintroducing some old characters like we're seeing with Abomination and Shang-Chi. But we're going to start getting hints and actual X-Men characters. We're going to get, probably some lesser ones like, Nightcrawler, Jubilee.
Would be so cool. What?
Beast.
Okay. Nightcrawler is not a lesser.
I'm just saying that, they're not Cyclops, Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
Jean Grey.
I'm
not saying we need them right now.
We don't need that generation of X-Men though. We need the new generation.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But we're going to get those, and then, by 2025, we'll get an actual ensemble X-Men piece.
And then we have the X-Men and the Avengers hate on each other and fight each other for no reason.
I think we're going to get Dark Avengers before that.
Ooh.
That's my call. It seems like what they're doing.
Fun.
So, have you seen...
you know what I want?
Have you seen Julia Louis-Dreyfus yet on Falcon? She's in that, and she's also in a cameo in Black Widow. So I think she's the evil Nick Fury. Well, she's playing Madam Hydra, so I'm assuming she's playing the role of an evil Nick Fury.
Yeah, like Dark Nick Fury.
Basically. So I think she's going to get Dark Avengers, and the next movie we get is Avengers versus Dark Avengers. You
know what I want, though?
What?
I want a series, like a TV series, that's just the Mutant Academy. Like,
yeah.
Like, it would be like Sky High, but at Xavier's.
That would work.
Or even the Jean Grey School. Like one of those two, and it's just the crappy, terrible shenanigans they all get up to because they're all mutants, and the fact that the school gets blown apart every semester. Like, that's the show I want.
Yes.
And then the shenanigans the professors have to put up with, that student's doing whatever again, and so is skipping class again because whatever, and the hallway is a mess.
Tommy Time Turner, stop skipping class.
Yeah.
And he literally
that's the show I want.
Class.
Well, and then we get all the fun, like, we can have, like, Beast be, like, a teacher, and he's just like, why do I have to put up with this? And, like, Cyclops is like, yeah, sorry, I'm out. And
then you got Wolverine trying to do anything.
Xavier's just on vacation. He ditched them all.
Deadpool's in charge.
Yeah, okay. If we got the new Avengers era and the Jean Grey School, then we could see Wolverine as a teacher and just like it would be so bad but so good.
Oh,
he can put up with no shit.
I heard rumors that they were going to do. It's very based on almost nothing. Rumors that Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine, but what if they brought X-23 back from Logan as their MCU's Wolverine?
That would be cool. Oh, see, that's another character that has like 5 people that play the same, 5 identities that take the same alias, because that's just how superheroes work. Superheroes want to retire, but someone has to be Wolverine still.
Daphne Keane.
Yeah, that would be so cool, actually, if they brought 23 in.
Instead of regular Wolverine. Not that it would be bad to have regular Wolverine, but...
No, but I think
X-23.
Hugh Jackman has reached the point that, like, Robert Downey Jr. did, where it's like, I've been doing this for God knows how long, and I need to retire.
I just don't want to... It's not that I don't want to see another Wolverine, or I only want to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I'm just saying we've seen a lot of Hugh Jackman
both
Wolverine.
Of them again, but...
And, throw in some X-23.
It'd be cool.
Yes, do it. Kevin Feige, I know you're listening. Go ahead and give us a call. 555-555-5554.
Beautiful. On that note.
Random topic time.
It's random topic time. Let's do a yellow one.
Yellow.
Cats or dogs?
Well, I feel like I'm a little biased in this arena.
I am also biased, but on the opposite spectrum.
I mean...
Gavin's a cat person, I'm a dog person.
I mean, I like dogs as well. I just currently have 2 little cat babies.
Yeah. If my friends have a cat, that's fine. I'll interact with them.
Say
but
hello.
I did not grow up owning a cat, and I've lived with cats, and I don't like living with cats.
It is a handful, but look at his cute little face.
Hi, baby.
Say hello. Say hello. No, don't hit it. Fine, go take a nap again. Take your nap.
You know what that makes me think of, though? That makes me think of Cats vs. Dogs.
That was a great movie.
What a classic.
That is a classic movie.
You know what we should talk about someday?
Cats vs. Dogs.
Cats vs. Dogs.
Let's see. I found a random topic generator. I'm going to see if there's anything that shows up that's good.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. What do you think is the most overrated or underrated TV show? Sort of fits in with the TV thing we have. We don't have to go off on this, but...
Overrated TV show.
Or underrated.
Or underrated.
A show that you think gets too much credit or not enough.
It's so hard.
Walking Dead. Gossip Girl.
Yeah,
I think they're both
say
overrated.
Walking Dead because it wasn't always overrated. The first few seasons were perfectly rated up until like season 4, and then it became overrated. I still love it though. Gossip Girl. Are you saying that's underrated?
I'm saying it's overrated.
I would say it's overrated.
Gilmore Girls, overrated. You know what? An underrated show, I think, was Me, Myself, and I with Bobby Moynihan and John Larroquette and Jack Dylan Grazer.
And it got canceled, didn't it?
It got canceled after 13 episodes, and I think it would have been great if it had kept going, but I'm not in charge of TV.
I think an underrated show. I'm curious, actually, what, if I Google it, what'll come up. I feel like none of these are... Well, I guess I've also not seen any of these, so I couldn't say.
Party Down for sure. Party Down is really funny. It's really stupid, but it's pretty funny. Same with Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. That one has Kristen Ritter in it.
Oh.
And Party Down has Ken something. I forgot his name.
Oh, the Orville?
Adam Scott. Oh, I love the Orville. Man, I can't wait for that show to come back. It's been like 3 years. The Orville, not
the
Party
OA.
Down.
Love, Death, and Robots.
Well, there you go.
Superstore, maybe. Mr. Robot. Oh, I would agree. I feel like not many people watched it.
Yeah, that's okay.
They have Brooklyn Nine-Nine on here. I feel like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is popular now.
I feel like it's appropriately rated if that rating is high as fuck.
Carnival. That was a good show. Well...
You mean that show with Cara Delevingne?
It's like a 2003, 2004 TV show. Yeah. Hannibal.
That's a good one.
Anyways, I think that's a good place to end before we take up too much more of your day.
Honestly, came out shorter than I thought.
I was expecting us to have to split this into like 2 episodes, but I think we're doing okay. We've had longer episodes.
That is true. We appreciate all of you for sticking through it this long. Mm-hmm. And tune in next week for the one that we're doing next week.
Yes. You have to follow us on Instagram if you want to know. Ha! Roped you in. _podcast on Instagram. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.